This is THV 11 News at 6.
Temperatures comfortably climbing back above freezing across central Arkansas, working to melt away all that snow and ice. Good news for parents and school districts. It cannot come soon enough. They are now making those decisions on when or if school will be back in session for the first time in more than a week. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6. I am Hoyt. The major metro school districts are indeed back open tomorrow. THV 11's Tanya Motorzitsky hears how they worked through this last day of icy roads to get there.
While crews work to clear school parking lots, districts across the state are making different calls and planning ahead on how to make up missed days.
So it's a lot of collaboration outside the district, but also our teams on the inside. So when we make the decision to cancel school or to have school closures, it's not taken lightly. It's definitely out of concern, safety concerns for all of our scholars who are riding the bus, who may be driving to school, our parents, as well as our staff.
While some districts like Conway Public Schools went back Monday, they are still working to finalize a plan on how to make up snow days. The district says in an email, "We want to ensure we share accurate and complete information with our families and community. Once an official make-up day plan is approved, Conway Public Schools will communicate those details broadly." At Little Rock Public School sites, crews work to clear ice and snow, something district officials say has been a process since last Tuesday.
I've not seen anything like it. This stuff will not melt, so we will clear it. There has been vehicles here, construction vehicles here, at least 3 times. This morning it was at least a 6-inch sheet of ice up there. So we're having to salt, scrape it off, resalt, scrape it off. So it's a major process.
With the district making the call that students will be back after 6 days, Superintendent Dr. Jamal Wright says they have an alternative calendar which goes off of hours in a classroom versus days. They have enough hours to cover last week, but they're looking at ways to make up for time lost in the classroom.
But we are going to go back and look at some non-student days that we have in February and March, and probably have some conversations with our teachers and our board about changing some of those days to student days to give our students and teachers an opportunity to make up some instruction that has been lost.
Superintendent Dr. Jeremy Owa with Jacksonville North Pulaski School District says they're doing the same.
We're actually going to interchange a staff professional development day to a student contact day in February, coming up on the 16th.
Dr. Wright says they worked closely with the city and county to clear problematic roads. In a statement from Pulaski County Director of Public Works, Tab Townswell says they're working hard to clear streets. He says in one area, crews had to use a track hoe to break up the packed ice sheet. In Little Rock, Tanya Motorzitsky, THV 11 News.
Tanya, thank you. And the Little Rock School District said they had only one pipe burst across the whole district. They credit the precautions they took before the storm for that. The Arkansas Department of Education also sent us a statement pointing to the choices that districts have to create alternative calendars to avoid running days into late May and June. Now, to stay up to date on your kid's school, you can text the word closings to 501-376-1111. We will send you our latest list. A lot fewer names on that one tonight. That might be a cause for celebration for some of you out there. It'll be a real-time update, just 376-1111, and we'll send it to your phone.
Trying to get back to normal out there. Yeah, school's out today, but tomorrow's another day, and there was a lot of melting, a lot of thawing out today. Traffic is moving along nicely. 6:30. Of course, the interstates and the main highways really haven't been the issue. It's those secondary roads, the neighborhood roads. Let's hope with temperatures getting close to 60 in Little Rock today. Those neighborhood roads went through quite a bit of thawing out. It is still 53 downtown. We made it into the upper 50s. 63 Texarkana. Northeast and eastern Arkansas, they still have quite a bit on the ground. Temperatures have been colder here. We do have a little rain chance coming into play tomorrow that might help melt off a little bit of that ice and snow pack. Our temperatures will drop off into the upper 30s for a bottoming out point tonight with clouds increasing. The graph gives us the best timing of that rain coming in tomorrow. Could begin as early as 6-7 o'clock in the morning. Tracy Bean will have more for you. But during the day, there will be a few scattered showers, primarily for the southeastern half of the state. It'll be a little bit cooler on Wednesday behind this frontal boundary. And a couple of mornings where we drop off into the upper 20s and low 30s, but daytime highs in the 40s and 50s. We'll take a look further on down the road. I got some numbers I think you're going to like.
Tom, thank you. The federal government remains in a partial shutdown. Now, hours before Friday's deadline arrived, the Senate did reach an agreement on a funding bill. However, that deal doesn't become official until the House votes on it. And as John Loring reports, it appears there are still some things that need to be worked out.
The U.S. starts a new week without Washington, D.C. running at full throttle.
The question mark over a government shutdown is certainly a big one and a political problem, really for both parties, but certainly for Republicans right now, as the polling is showing a great deal more pressure on them.
On Tuesday, the House is expected to vote on the funding package that passed through the Senate last week.
Because of the conversation I had with Hakeem Jeffries, I know that we've got to pass a rule and probably do this mostly on our own. I think that's very unfortunate.
The legislation backs most government agencies through much of the year, except the Department of Homeland Security, which will only get funded for 2 weeks while lawmakers work to reform DHS's immigration operations.
Body cameras should be mandatory. Masks should come off. Judicial warrants should absolutely be required, consistent with the Constitution in our view, before DHS agents or ICE agents are breaking into the homes of the American people or ripping people out of their cars.
This partial government shutdown is expected to last until at least Tuesday, while Washington, D.C. tries to come to some sort of agreement.
So I think it's all of our responsibilities to reopen the government.
I'm not just a no, I'm a firm no, and I'm going to advocate with colleagues that they vote no.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Now, because of the shutdown, January's jobs report is going to be delayed. The IRS also says they have all hands on deck now that we're a week into tax season, but don't expect it to disrupt it, at least not this week. There are nearly 75,000 employees who will continue working throughout the next 5 days. Tonight, the Little Rock Water Reclamation Authority getting a $10 million boost from Washington. Funding secured by Senator John Boozman, or helped in that regard, will upgrade sewer and pump systems at the Port of Little Rock and other parts of the city, expand capacity, and support future industrial growth. The grant comes 2 years after the authority emerged from a 15-year consent decree to make improvements. Tonight is the deadline to register for next month's primary elections. Those races will narrow down the candidates ahead of the general election later in November. One that includes races for U.S. Senate, Arkansas Secretary of State, the State Senate, and House of Representatives. If you can get a registration form in the mail with today's postmark, you'll still be qualified to vote next month.
Punxsutawney Phil!
Look at that thing. The legendary soothsaying groundhog Punxsutawney Phil has made his long-awaited weather prediction, suggesting more frigid days ahead. Oh, geez. Phil emerged from his tree stump at Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania this Groundhog Day and saw his shadow. According to tradition, that means we are in for another 6 weeks of winter after what's already been a grueling cold season across much of the country. And after the week we just had, many of you might not be happy with that, but whether he's right or not, there are some things you can do to give yourself a boost and avoid the winter blues. Psychologists say it's pretty common, with symptoms including a drop in energy, a craving for carbs. So they encourage you to exercise, make sure you maintain a regular sleep schedule, but for some, there may be even more to it.
When those symptoms start to become more prominent, they start to cause problems in day-to-day living, then that's when we look at a difference between just having winter blues versus actually being a problem of clinical concern.
Tom, good thing it is starting to warm up outside, right?
Yeah, we're pushing the winter blues, the color blue, into the northeastern U.S. over the next 8 to 14 days. A nice warm up. In fact, above average trend is on the way. We will discuss after the break.